Well, there's a little bit of gang war between two different groups of Chinese organized crime and Vietnamese gangs that are helping one of the Chinese groups, which leads to more conflict. The China House was near the airport on a stretch of Walker Road dominated by small factories and service garages. It took Bernard almost 20 minutes to drive there from his place near the university. He drove slowly into the parking lot and looked around before getting out of the car. It looked okay. He walked to the restaurant and went in. The other car pulled into the parking lot just as the door closed behind Bernard. His eyes scanned the restaurant carefully. The room was almost empty. He had expected as much at 9:30 on a midweek evening. Li Huang and Jay Li were seated at a back table where they had a clear view of all windows and doors. Smart, he thought. Teddy Leung was not there yet. He walked back to join the others. Bernard was just about to sit when the three men walked in the front door. As he turned toward the sound, Bernard recognized the men who had threatened Teddy and him at the university yesterday, and he saw the guns. Bernard swung his rifle up and pulled the trigger just as the three men in the doorway opened fire. Bernard slumped back against the wall and slipped to the floor, a track of growing red spots across his chest. The older man in the doorway looked at the body strewn around the room and smiled. The man on his right knelt and checked the one who had fallen. "Dead," he said in Cantonese. "Get his identification and take the gun. We must leave now." Jimmy Lee looked at the blood now soaking the sleeve of his coat near the shoulder. "You drive." Teddy Leung had often cursed Windsor drivers in their erratic ways. Now he thought he should be thankful. If he had not been held up by traffic, things would be different. He stood in the doorway to Wan's China House. He glanced at the man dead in the doorway, then looked around the room. 3 white diners were dead at their table near him. Another 2 halfway across the room, with a waitress in a pool of blood on the floor beside their table. The kitchen doors had swung halfway shut on the body of Eddie Wan. Teddy walked across the room to the 3 bodies at the back. He lifted the heads of the 2 face down on the table and recognized them. He had already recognized Bernard Cheung, sitting against the wall, still holding his gun. Teddy eased the gun out of Bernard's hand. The way things were going, he might need it more than Bernard ever would now. He checked Bernard's pockets for an extra clip. There was none. He would look for some at Bernard's apartment later. He checked the other 2. Fools! They had come unarmed. As he was about to walk out, he turned and looked at the room once more. For a second, he thought he saw a face in the crack of the kitchen door. Then it was gone. He started in that direction, but heard the sirens, a lot of sirens, and coming his way. If someone had been in the kitchen, they had called the police. He walked out quickly and drove down Walker Road toward home.